What happened? You know, 3, 2, 1, and live. So, welcome everyone, and welcome, Mr. Little.
Hey, welcome to you. Hi.
So yes, so thanks for doing this, and you're here to talk about your new film, Natty Knocks.
And whatever, yeah.
Oh, and general chit chat. Let's go.
We'll just talk.
Nice. Thanks.
No American politics though. Anything but that.
Definitely not. No. European politics.
Yeah, maybe that.
So Natty Knocks. Do you want to give us a just summary of the film?
Well, really, it's a Halloween Eve movie. We're a little perplexed why Vertical dropped it out in August, because we always imagined this is coming out in October, maybe 2 weeks before Halloween. But the good news there is, because it's on VOD, then the streaming release can be in October. So the streaming is, I'm trying to catch up with all this too. It's called the SVOD. And that's, the Hulu, Netflix, Amazon Live, those where you've paid your subscription and then the movie comes up. So you don't have to buy it individually. We have a thing here called AMC and AMC Shudder. So we're hoping that the movie will kind of be re-released in a way in October. Anyway, so it's a Halloween. We were trying to do really a cross between Disturbia and make an homage to like 80s slasher movies. Everything from, of course, from Halloween, but Terror Train and Prom Night, and there were, as you know, a slew of 80s, stalker movies. And we wanted to pay homage to those as well as, but we set it in a contemporary world. And the babysitter, who, our character Britt, she's kind of a nod to Laurie Strode. And because the main bad guy, Abner Honeywell, watches the B movies of his mother, it really gives us a great way to do an echo of the Corman movies from the 60s, your Hammer movies, and then also the New World, Mask of the Red Death, all those kind of movies. So we think a little bit of a meta idea going with the movie within a movie. And then, of course, by adding the actors that we did, we sort of have little nods to their filmography as well.
Oh, okay. So yeah, you've got 3 actors that many horror aficionados would recognize.
Yes.
Robert Englund, Bill Moseley, and Danielle Harris.
Right. And, we've had some of the early user reviews have been all over the place. The people that understand the film within a film, horror nod to the 80s throwback part of it, just adore the movie. And the people who are expecting something of this world, like as one reviewer wrote, in the world of Talk to Me and Heredity and Terrifier 2, it seems a bit soft. And they're not wrong. It is because it's kids and it's Halloween night, and we definitely were counter programming the Terrifier, Saw, torture porn genre. And we were definitely staying away from that. So some people will be, I think, just really pleasantly thrilled with it. I think some people, if they want a lot of gore, they're not going to get it probably from us.
But many of the films back then didn't have that much gore anyway. Right.
So. We do kill people. I don't want to undersell it.
Spoilers.
Yeah.
Right. Yes. So people looking to watch it, it's streaming on YouTube in both the UK and the US, and Apple and Amazon in the US, and Vudu and Redbox, which we don't have over here, but it's available at the moment. I mean, there'll be more places, I guess, and then October to what time?
Yeah, in October, then you'll get into those larger, the Hulu, Netflix world.
So yeah, and then annually on a Halloween's Eve.
That's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping
Yeah.
I'm hoping the timing works out for Halloween.
Yeah, that'd be nice. So yeah, you had the premiere in July. Where was that?
That was at the Harmony Gold Theater on Sunset Boulevard, and it was quite an event. I mean, everybody came: Danielle, Bill, Robert, Charlotte Fountain, who we just think is tomorrow's star. She was so fantastic. She was really an unknown.
Okay.
And we had a nice press turnout, and we filled like a 300-seat theater, and it was quite an evening. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I bet. I saw the pictures. I must have missed my invite.
Yeah, well, it was paying for your Uber to get here that was the problem.
So Danielle Harris. So you've done what, 3 movies with her as a child, or?
Well, it was just Halloween and Marked for Death. I think so.
Right.
It's just the 2.
Oh, was it? I was thinking
yeah, it's just the 2, and then no, she was in Free Willy 1.
But you did 2.
Right, so you're close. You're close.
Okay.
And of course, now she plays all grown up. She's mom. She's the real estate agent, and she's the divorcing mother. And she does a wonderful job. But it's not really a scream queen part, although she does, take him down at the end. Spoiler alert. But anyway. But she's such a mature actress that she does get a little, because of her past, a little pigeonholed into just straight horror. But really, she can do anything. She could be in anything.
Yeah, there's no reason for just horror, is there? It's just people like I think it's like Robert Englund and Bill Moseley. They're all known.
Oh yeah, all of them. And Robert started off as a kind of a working character actor. There's a wonderful documentary about Robert that's come out. And it talks about his early days when he was, the sidekick to Jan Michael Vincent, and he was the voice of Big Wednesday. And so he started off in character roles, and then, so once Freddie hit, I think he embraced it at that time. So and of course I worked with Robert on Phantom.
Yes.
Our version of Phantom.
Yeah, as it won, and an episode of Freddy's Nightmares TV show.
Nightmares, right.
Yeah. So have Danielle or Robert changed in their acting styles in those years? I
don't know if their acting has changed. They're certainly much different in the sense that they're older, more mature people. But the essence of who people are, I've found, really doesn't change. I mean, the 1989 Robert is still the 2000, what are we, 2000?
Yeah, what are we?
Robert. And, Danielle still has that Jamie sparkle in her eye. So, it's the same person in there, just a few more wrinkles, maybe.
Yes, aren't we all?
Yeah.
So this is writer Ben Olsen's first feature.
He's been writing away for a while. I think it's his first produced feature.
Yeah.
We started working on something. We were introduced by a company called Escape Artist at Sony, and we worked on a project that wasn't made. It was about a super soldier. I can't remember what the name of it was, but we worked on that. We got along quite famously. He lives in another part of the country, and we've been knocking around things we could do together. And we took an idea he had for a film called Ditch and kind of reworked it into a real Halloween, thriller. So I think he's pretty excited to get his first film produced.
Okay. So yeah. Have you worked with Bill Moseley before?
Now, Bill was new to me. I just met him.
Okay.
He was introduced to me through our casting agent. And I didn't know Bill's work as much as maybe I should have, because I didn't know some of those Rob Zombie pictures,
Sure.
where he's famously Chop Top in the Rob Zombie movies. But I went out to dinner with him. We talked about the script. We bonded, and he's a very subtle but wonderful screen presence and actor. And so he was new, but a great addition. I think there's something about having three that's interesting: Robert, Danielle, and Bill. Something very interesting about having all three of them.
Yeah, have they been in a movie together before?
I don't know. I
No,
think
I think
Bill and Robert know each other very well because
okay,
they do all the conventions together,
sure.
as does Danielle. So I think they all know each other.
Okay. Yeah. So and this film is produced by someone you know quite well, Sandy.
Yeah, right. So Sandy is my producing partner and my life partner. So yeah, we did a movie, a small movie together before called Last Rampage,
Yeah.
and with Robert Patrick, Heather Graham, and Bruce Davison, and we had some success with that, and so we decided to do it again. So we're very, kind of pull up your bootstraps. In it, we're a very small indie company, but we have good people around us, and then when the movies are finished, then we go out and get the distribution. So we don't make the movie. It's kind of risky, but we don't make the movie knowing we have distribution.
Right.
But in this case, we were able to join up with Vertical, and Vertical's, they're coming into their own. They're a small releasing company.
Okay.
But they picked up a movie that really hit called Emily the Criminal, with Aubrey Plaza, and that really kind of put them on the map. And they've been, they had a Gerard Butler movie, and they've had some very interesting movies. They just picked up a Johnny Depp movie out of, I think it was out of the Cannes Film Festival, and so we felt quite pleased to get Vertical on board.
No, good. Because would have like something like Kickstarter been used in, or a lot of smaller horror films have been using crowdfunding and stuff like that.
Oh, no,
right?
we didn't do that. We had some outside investors.
Okay.
And we had some executive producers who, are from India, and we had some outside investors. But it's very, it's a tight budget. We don't think it looks like it, but it is. We try and produce a very slick looking, professional movie.
Yeah, that's good. I'll just get some people in the chat. So we got Joseph the Horror Guy. Can't wait. I have not seen Natty Knocks movie. I know Danielle Harris is in this. Robert Englund and the director from Halloween 4. I can't wait.
Well,
so, yeah.
Well, good. Push rent or buy. Please.
Yeah, I put the link is in the chat.
Get a big screen. Turn the sound up.
Yeah, Joe is a big Danielle Harris fan.
Nice. She's very good in the movie. She's very good.
Stanton says hello. Hello, Stanton. Luke. Hi, guys. How are you both? I'm all right.
What's up?
Fanzine Vids. No. I know he's a question he'd ask. Will it be released on physical media at any point?
Yes, they are anticipating a Blu-ray release. I don't have the date on that.
Right.
But Vertical should be, and I don't know whether that comes out. There's a certain order that this happens, and I don't know whether Blu-ray is before, like the Hulu, or after. But yes, there would be a DVD Blu-ray of this.
Oh, nice. Yeah, something that doesn't happen as much as
it used to,
right? We got Dr. Impossible. Does Natty Knocks have a ghost story vibe to the production? I was thinking about M.R. James, who wrote supernatural stories like A Warning to the curious here in Britain.
Well, there is a ghost story, definitely, and not just a ghost story vibe. There's an actual, excuse me, there's an actual ghost story, and it's the spirit of Natty Knocks that really comes back and haunts this town. And she is, I don't want to give it all away, but she's very involved with Bill Moseley, who plays Abner Honeywell. And so the short answer is it is actually kind of a full-on ghost story.
Okay. And something again. Does Natty Knocks have the Ohio Midwestern feel to it?
It does, even though we picked a small California town called Fillmore.
Okay.
I feel that the way we shot it and the way it was put together, I feel like it does. It doesn't have the scenes of trick-or-treating like Halloween 4 does, but we have a haunted house party, you know, the way people do before Halloween, a classic haunted house. Halloween 4 was a featured attraction at Universal Horror Nights 2 years in a row. And so I went to see it, and I thought, well, we have to do a haunted house in this movie, and we did, and it's really fun. So we have a full-on Halloween haunted house, and not so much of the trick-or-treating, but you do see, you know, the pumpkins and the decorations and the whole kind of feel it heavily in the movie.
Okay, because that's what a lot of people like about Halloween 4 is the opening scene where it
right up, and there's
Halloween.
There's definitely an homage to that in the opening of Natty Knocks. You can almost see it there on that little picture.
So yeah, Joseph says, "Can I watch the movie?" Yes, you can. Of course you can. Just check out YouTube.
Please do.
Yeah, just search on Natty Knocks on YouTube, or in America, Amazon and Apple.
Apple, right?
And Microsoft, I believe, in America.
I think that we have one here called. It's on Google Play. It's on. I was looking at Redbox and so forth.
Yeah. You got another fan here. Really looking to see it. Forward to seeing it. It looks good, indeed. And so Joe's, what's up, Dwight? You are a good director from Halloween 4 movie. It's my favorite. You did an amazing job. And Daniel Harris is my favorite.
Well, good. You'll have to understand that she was 9 or 10 years old, and she's a very attractive woman in her 40s now. So Daniel Harris has changed, but in every way, in a good way.
Well, yeah, she was a very good actress at 9 years old.
It's terrific.
Oh,
by the way, before I lose you, I do want to plug. I have to plug something.
Oh yeah, what you got?
I have a new book.
There you go.
It's called Still Rolling.
All right.
Inside the Hollywood Dream Factory, and that's available on Amazon on August 20th. You can pre-order it now.
Okay.
And it goes into quite a bit of detail about Phantom and Halloween 4 and many other movies. So if you're interested in any or all of that, or in me, you can pick up this in about 2 weeks and have it sent right to your doorstep.
Nice. Still rolling. Okay, I'll put the link in the description after this.
Thanks.
So yeah, where is it? I was going to say, where's my copy gone? Halloween 4. So yeah, there we go. Halloween 4.
There you go. So we'll plug them both. And I do hope that the Blu-ray for Natty Knocks comes out this year. I hope.
Yeah. Yes. Well, yeah. It's usually within a few weeks, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, yeah. It's
well, a few months, I should say.
We have this won't affect distribution, but we're having this terrible problem out here with the double strike.
Yeah.
With SAG and the writers, so everything has been ground to a halt, I'm afraid, in terms of production.
Yeah. Oh, the chat's jumped. Hang on, I'll get back to that. Yeah, really looking forward to seeing Natty Knocks. Looks good.
Good.
Indeed, check it out. Because, done that one. Sorry. There you go. That's a question. What was the biggest challenge in crafting Natty Knocks?
Well, I think it was balancing the. There's really three timelines. There's the movies that Natty Knocks, and she was a B movie actress almost in the 70s. The movies that she did when she was an actress in the 70s. So we had to recreate that look, that sort of grainy look, and make it seem very old school. And we had to do very special music we had to compose for those segments to make it feel authentic. And then we had the present day, right in 2023. So we had to set a look and a tone for that. And then there was also so that was the world of the kids and the world of Halloween in the streets and the neighborhoods. But then we had to do the supernatural, because there is, as we were discussing earlier, a ghosty part of it. And so we had to create a supernatural look. And that was really the third element. So bringing all three of those worlds together, I guess that was a challenge.
Right. Yeah, definitely is. Because, because how old was Charlotte and Thomas when they were filming?
Well, Charlotte she was 22 when we made the movie. I think she may have just turned 23, but she was playing 18.
Okay.
And Thomas was playing about, he doesn't drive yet, so almost 16. Almost 16. Right. And then we had another young two more. We had Noah Perez and Hannah Zeiting. Hannah was the youngest. She was sort of playing about 11, 12 in the movie. And then, so we had a nice group we had some good young energy to make I wouldn't say it was the Goonies, but it had that little element of Goonies in it.
I was just thinking of the Goonies because I remember Richard Donner having a lot of fun corralling all the children in that.
Yeah. It does have a little whiff of Stranger Things in it as well.
Okay. So yeah, awesome book, man. So yeah, that's available a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
So pre-book that. Lloyd Pretty Boy. I saw the trailer and it looks good with Robert and Danielle Harris. Love them both. Halloween 4 is my second favorite Halloween.
Okay. Well, I'll take second.
Take second place. I know it is in most people's top 2 or 3. So we'll allow. Because I was going to say, have you seen the latest trilogy of Halloween?
I have not, and there was kind of a reason, because when I was getting ready to write or co-write and develop Natty Knocks, I didn't want to get Michael back in my head. I feel like he's on his own path now. He's got people taking care of him. He's got John Carpenter and Jamie Lee, and now Jason Blum is involved. And I do keep in touch with Malik quite a bit, Malik Akkad, the producer.
Okay, yeah.
And of course, I saw Malik when we had a tour of Universal Horror Nights, but I didn't feel like I wanted to see the way they did those scenes. I wanted to keep my head clear. I think as a filmmaker, you got to be careful about getting your brain too confused. Stanley Kubrick famously said that he refused to see any Vietnam War movies, because he made Full Metal Jacket. But by then, there was Apocalypse Now, there was Platoon, there was, many first-rate Vietnam movies. But he didn't want to see any of them, and you can see why. Because he doesn't want to get Coppola and Oliver Stone in his head,
right.
Because he's trying to do his own thing.
Yeah, makes perfect sense. Because I have seen on the internet people calling for like a legacy sequel to Halloween 4 that ignores 5, where Danielle comes back older and possibly.
Well, that's of course the great disappointment that Alan McElroy and I have, is that we felt we teed up Halloween 5, and it wasn't paid off in the way that we were going to do it. But Mustafa went and did the way he wanted to do it, and that's just, that's being in the creative arts. Everybody has a different view.
Sure. Yeah. See, Joseph asking, is there a behind the scenes from Halloween, and how was it doing the how was doing the director from Halloween?
I think there are, on some of the Blu-rays, I think they have special features.
Okay.
I believe so.
I think it was a new 4K last year or something, wasn't there?
Yeah, they had several re-releases, and they're quite good. They're beautifully done. In terms of being the director of Halloween 4, I would say the shooting all nights for 35 nights was really strenuous. We had some day work, but not very much. And so after a while, you do become a vampire, because you go home and it's light outside and everybody else is having their day and you're going to bed, and so you're just always up at night, and it starts to mess with your brain after a while. So that was a bit. I mean, you can do it for maybe 2 or 3 nights in a row, but when you start doing weeks of it, it surprisingly messes with your psychology.
Right.
And you're very much out of sync with the entire world, because you're working when the whole world's asleep, and you're sleeping when the whole world's awake, and it becomes odd.
Okay, hopefully sleeping if there's not too much noise from the people around in the day.
Right.
Because I guess you had Danielle for limited time at night.
Yeah, and she had to be shot out by, usually we'd get her maybe at 6 o'clock, and she'd have to be done by 11 or whatever the rule was. And then you'd switch over and do other work. But that was another complication. Of course, she's not in everything, but
no, I guess
she's quite a bit.
Yeah. Okay. Where's this? Oh, sorry, missed one. Hang on. Bob McCall, the Equalizer, is here. Good evening.
Good evening. Nice to see you.
Has Francine's asking, has horror always been where you wanted to make films?
Well, it was really more action and thriller with me first, honestly. I started off with these crazy action movies. Speaking of DVD, it wasn't DVD, but when I was coming out of film school, VHS had just come on the scene, and everybody needed movies to put in the VHS stores. I'm not sure if you remember, but every corner, every gas station, every liquor store, everybody had a VHS, and they needed movies. So I was doing like a Joe Don Baker movie and Sally Kellerman movies, and these were all very low budget B action movies, and that's how I cut my teeth, and that's how I got Halloween, was because they had seen some of my early action movies. And then of course I did go back to action with Rapid Fire and Marked for Death and Murdered 1600, and then sort of slipped back into a little more with horror suspense with Anacondas, which I really enjoyed making. So it's been those two together. I would say action and horror. Although Phantom of the Opera is actually my favorite movie. It's the one. It was extremely poorly received when it came out, because people thought we were doing a ripoff of the Lloyd Webber musical.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
And nobody could see past the title. They were just, these guys are just stealing the title. And I suppose that was true on its face, but that's not what the movie is. And then over the last, it's been 35 years now, the movie's been so completely reconsidered. And it comes out on Blu-ray and things like that, and we get all these new fans to the point that when Robert goes to the conventions now, they of course they ask him all about Freddie, but they really want to talk about Phantom of the Opera, and you can just see the rating on IMDb just goes up and up and up. It just starts climbing up. So that's been very interesting. And to me, it's a very interesting combination of an artistic. It had a lot to do with opera and music and theater, but it also had a slasher, scary slasher component, and somehow Robert held all that together. And it's not for everybody, but I think it's the most interesting of my movies because it's just very unexpected.
Yeah, that's a very good description.
Yeah.
So yeah, is there any difference to directing a horror to directing an action? Do you have to change cast, or are you just the director?
Well, we have what we call the set pieces. I would say in an action movie, your set pieces tend to be more, car chases at gun fights and things like that. The drama of the characters, I would say, is very similar because of whether you're dealing with comedy or drama or tension. I would say the dealing with the actors is very similar.
Okay.
A horror set piece is a little slower, and you have to build the suspense a little slower and more carefully. And of course, action is bang, 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 very quick. So I would see the distinction settles into how you do the set pieces of those two genres. The drama and the filmmaking is actually, I would say, quite similar with a horror and an action movie.
Okay. Oh, hang on. Behind now. Joe says you're doing a good job at being a director. Keep up the good work. So.
Excellent.
This is a common question. The mask on Halloween 4, the one that's on the poster.
Is this the actual Bob? Is this the actual Bob McCall?
It might be.
We don't know.
No. But yeah.
Quite. Anyway.
About the mask on the poster is not the mask on the back. Question.
Well, there's been, of course, a lot of discussion about that, and I didn't have everything to do with it, but there was a disappointment among the producers early on. Here's I think why there was a confusion.
Okay.
Alan and I were trying to show Michael's growth from his escape from the sanitarium to how he reanimates as Michael Myers. So step one, he has to go to the gas station and he has to get his overalls. So he ends up killing the mechanic and getting his overalls. In order to get the mask organically, we didn't think he's going to sit and make one in his basement. So he goes to, I guess you would call it a general store or what would you call it over there? We might call it a pharmacy or someplace.
Yeah.
And they had a big Halloween display. So he actually takes a commercial mask that the town of Haddonfield puts out every year as an homage to the lore of the town. So they've actually made a commercial Michael Myers mask, like any kid would put on when they go trick or treating. And so you actually see the scene where Michael steals the mask from the display. It's also where little Jamie Lloyd is able to get her clown outfit back, which harkens all the way back, of course, to the first movie and sets up the end of our movie when she's at the top of the stairs. And so we were trying to say, okay, well, that's how it would actually be, and that makes it very realistic that Michael would acquire his mask in that way. Sure. And we did that, and I was very happy with it. But because it was a store-bought mask, it didn't have the same maybe texture and detail that a movie mask would have.
Sure.
Does that make
Okay.
sense?
Yeah.
So now they start looking at the dailies and go, why is that mask not look quite right? And the reason is because the mask was borrowed from a drugstore, I guess. Do you have that expression, drugstore? I guess. I don't know. Not
But
really.
we know what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. And not so then they said, well, maybe we need this to look a bit more like the mask that people are expecting
Yeah.
from a Michael Myers mask. And somewhere in all that conversation, I think the through line of the mask got a little bit lost. And then there's that one shot that people rightly talk about where he has the blonde hair and at the end of the movie. So
Yeah.
I think that's the best answer to the question is there was some confusion on the set, and it was driven by the fact that the mask comes from a store, a retail store.
Yeah. It's never bothered me, but yeah, like you said, I just saw he picks up from the shop. That's
Yeah,
what they're stocking. So
right.
yeah.
So that I think that's kind of how that story started.
Okay. Right. Okay. Well, we're past half an hour mark. Are you still all right to have some more questions?
Yeah, I'm good. 5-10 minutes, and then we'll be all
Okay.
set.
Well,
If
no
you're
problem.
good.
I'll crack through a few of the other ones. Rob's vintage video. Great guest. Thanks, Rob.
Very good.
Fanzine saying he loves your Phantom of the Opera. Very highly
Yeah.
underrated and unique. That is true.
Yes, but it's starting. Thank you for that. It is starting to be rated. It had been
Getting
overlooked.
appreciated more, isn't it?
It was overlooked for years, and there's been other movies like that when they come out in their day they don't achieve anything, but then they grow a little bit over time.
Okay.
It's not that uncommon. I'll give you some studio examples of that. Fight Club was completely dismissed in its day, and it's considered really a David Fincher classic now. Bonnie and Clyde was received so poorly that they pulled it from theaters, and the reviews were so toxic that they couldn't even keep it released. And
Right.
it was just too shocking for that audience. And so then they re-released the movie, and then it slowly became Bonnie and Clyde, which is now almost like a landmark classic. And so this can happen where people, for whatever reason, the culture at the time isn't ready for a particular movie, but then later they are. It happens.
Yeah. Yeah. So quite a few films, isn't there? Unfortunately, don't see success first, and then everyone loves them later on.
Right.
It's a lot of stuff gets back in the day, VHS rentals and
right.
Used to take off. Because that's where I first saw Phantom was a VHS rental. So
right. Yeah. Exactly. You should go back and revisit it with the Blu-ray and all that stuff.
Yeah, I did.
Anyway, well, I see 38. When we get to 40, let's start winding down.
All right, one more.
Here's a question.
Notice that action films reflect back more to early 70s, harder-edged Hollywood style that certainly creates a synchronized fusion with your action films. Is that true?
Well, yeah, and it's interesting. We just lost yesterday the great William Friedkin, who not only did The French Connection and The Exorcist, but he did To Live and Die in L.A., which is so astonishingly good. Again, he had two movies that were dismissed at the time. One, it just goes into our conversation. One was Sorcerer with Roy Scheider. And the other was To Live and Die in L.A. And both those films are monumental, but they were completely looked over. Now, as people revisit William Friedkin's work, I think those movies really are coming to the fore. I'm forgetting the question, but yes, the 70s. I think the reason is I was very impressionable. That was a coming of age time for me, and so those were the movies that kind of lit my fuse, as they say now.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. Let's 2 more questions, and then we'll call it a night. Did you keep anything from Halloween 4? Any props or anything?
What do I have? I did have something that I gave away. Not really. I'm sorry to say, I really don't have much. I know I've been to a couple of the conventions, and people are able to, bring posters and bring things that I'm happy to sign. I do have a very nice, one sheet of the movie that's up in my rec room area, and but beyond the poster, not so much really.
Yeah, I guess apart from the masks, there's not many props or the knives, or maybe, but
Maybe the knife.
Let's have a look. Just one hello from the Night Owl Movie Talk. He's been listening. Great interview. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. What time do you have there?
It's 20 to 11 in the evening here.
There you go.
So we go. Right, one more question, and I'll let you go. Do you have any projects in the future with new ideas, new visions for horror films or actions or comedy?
Well, I do have one. So I'm putting together a movie right now called Fast Walkers, which is it's an alien horror film, and it's a little bit in the I would say in the area code of Prometheus or Fire in the Sky, or one of those more. I mean, the one that's been most successful and the best recently is A Quiet Place, which I thought was really very well done. The Quiet Place was quite recent. That's the one with Emily Blunt and John, Krasinski. So anyway, I have a company involved with that, and we're putting it together called Fast Walkers. So as you know, there's been a lot of talk, even in government circles lately, about all things. They don't call them UFOs anymore. They call them, what is it?
No, I forget what they call them.
UAPs, or they have a new name for UFOs. But anyway, yes. So in terms of, I'm working on a few things, but in terms of horror, that's the one I'm working on. It's called Fast Walkers.
Okay, lovely. I'll just put this one more comment, and then we'll say goodbye. It's just saying, from JT's Horror Discussion, the dark atmosphere in Halloween 4 is unmatched in the series.
Excellent.
High praise indeed. So. Right, so thanks for anyone. Sorry I couldn't put all those questions, but thanks for Dwight. And Natty Knocks is on streaming now, and his book is out in a couple of weeks on Amazon. All the links will be in the description later. I think that's it, unless Mr. Little has anything to say.
No, I just want to thank you again very much for your interest, and we'll keep touching base as I have some news. I'll let you know.
Thank you. It's always great to see you, and thanks for being here. So,
all right,
thanks
guys.
everyone, and good night.
Thanks for your questions. Bye-bye.